Adeleke Adedoyin Gbadebo. 1980 to 1984. I graduated in 1984. I was born on the 17th April 1956 to the Royal House of Egbaland, to the Larun Royal House of Egbaland. Yes, I am from Ogun State. A trader. I buy and sell. Wow. That's like going to the beginning of life. I've been in OAU premises since 1967. That was my first visit to OAU. In 67, when the university moves here, my brother-in-law, Mr. Aderomu, and my sister, Fadika Aderomu, moved into this university then. So I lived there in the quarters, Road 9 and 14, when they were just newly constructed. That's at the time we lived there. So I've been so used to the campus. That's why some of us have a lot of personal interest in some of the things in the campus. Because when we were very, the impression a young child has of an environment sticks in him for the rest of his life. So as a young man, when my sister moved her family to the staff club, it was like going to the beach, And when we go to the staff club was everything for recreation in Ife then. So I lived with them in Ife till 1972 while I was in secondary school. Right. So after secondary school in 75, I worked in UI, worked in some other places, and then come back to university in 1980. Okay? So in 1980, as a young man in university, oh my God, I had all hope of what I could be in life. I came in as an economist, and my dreams were highly enhanced in that university. Coming into that university that I've seen as a small child, you know what it means to you. It was like fulfilling everything about my life. So people couldn't really understand. Some people may not appreciate what it means to us. It was more than just any other student entering university. So I lived in our hall for a short time and then moved to the quarters. I lived in the quarters in Dr. Bangboi's house, Sambi Sako, as I used as boys because I stayed with Ebo. So we're in between the school and the university campuses. So my love for the lectures and the work goes beyond just being lectured or looking for certificates. I was enjoying every bit of what I was doing there. My best teacher in the university was Dr. Fashino in the philosophy. I took all my electives in philosophy. I met a lot of people, even though I'm majoring in economics, BSc economics. I love the teaching of Dr. Fashino a lot, and it made me love philosophy, and it helped me in thinking for the rest of my life. OAU. I was really trained. I was educated in OAU, in University of Ife then. You call it OAU now, but it's the same university, right? I was highly educated by the university. What you mean education? Beyond books. As a student in the university then, I had very little funds. I was the one managing myself, and so I had to start working my second year of the university because I worked before I could go back to retake my skill set. In 78, 79, I did my HSC in Oscars, then entered the university. Then 2 years after, I couldn't afford to carry on without money again. I had no fund, so I had to work as a student in part 2. I started working for Kester. That was just a senior of mine, 2 years or so above me, about 2 or 3 years earlier. So he was serving, and he had the SB bar from his mom. And so I was his manager, managing the bar, and I was going to school. So that was the money I used to sustain myself. And the next year, he pulled out. He said he has to go to Lagos for a permanent job. And he couldn't hang around again, and he couldn't trust the job to anybody. So he pulled out and returned the SB bar to the student union. So the beauty of my education, when I moved into SB bar to running for Kester, it was a very wild place then. But being a sportsman, my kind of sport was the martial arts then. And so I had a lot of confidence in myself. There's no way I can walk to. I wasn't afraid of anybody. So I walked into SB bar and sanitized the place. Change it from a place where girls cannot pass through. You can't walk over the corridor then. You can't go upstairs. It's only for the bad boys. But I was, who are the bad boys? Bad boys are just one of us. We decide, who find fun in harassing others. And then when they see people that they cannot harass, you can put them back in place. So I walked in and I set the place right. So the second year after he left, I contested for the position of running the bar, and I won it. I had no money, very little money, and I had to be going to town every 3 hours to buy a few cartons, 5 cartons, 2 cartons of beer, put it there, then go for my lectures. By the time I'll finish a class or 2, and there's a gap in between, by the time I get to SCB, there will be drinks again, I'll run back to town. So I met Mr. Mate. See, you can see my education was not just a class. I had a great teacher. All my teachers are fantastic, But I just enjoy the philosophy, the way Jingo handled it. He works at the least student's capacity. He wants the last student there that doesn't understand what he's teaching. Until that one understands it, he's not going to move on. And that developed a high interest. Others will even work out. Doesn't mind. I'll stay. And I enjoyed every bit of it. In my department, people like Professor Fabario, Professor Oladeji, who was my supervisor. And I was also there with my wife today. We moved in from Oscars in, and we're just girlfriends and boyfriends in the same class, reading economics. Okay? So my 3rd year, the place was mine, running the bar and going to class. So my time was just divided between 2 things. Either in class or I'm in the SB bar. So I don't have anywhere to go and play again. That was no. If you want to see me, you meet me there. And I'll be behind the room, reading, doing my homeworks and so on. And I'll run back again to class and come back, sort the place out. So I converted all my spare time, besides academics, into production and making good use of my energy, my time, my ability. I was able to make enough money to eat and keep myself going. And from there, I became the first. I started distributing for international breweries in the SCB bar, and then continental breweries and standard breweries. So in the university, I was busy with my academics. In fact, I wrote my project on distribution of manufactured goods in Nigeria, a case study of the beauty industry. So I know where I'm going, and I've been at seats all along. So my coming to the university was to help me with the knowledge I have, to help me align it so that I can have a wider knowledge. I can think deeper into what I'm doing. And so it's all fun and hard work. Well, that's a word I never used. I don't have enemies and I don't have a best friend. I work with everybody with a clear understanding. I mix very well with people and I don't expect anything from anybody. So if you start having a best friend, you are expecting something from that person. That's a value. You are rating somebody. So when you start saying, this is the best friend, or this is my lesser friends, then you are expecting, there is something, you are judging, and you are classifying things. But one thing I do is, I take friends for who they are. And I know everybody, and I know how much I should move closer, and how much I should stay away. So I flow like the flower. If something is conducive and right, I move closer to it. The plant will move towards the sun. He loves the sun. So you move away from what is not good. So when I see things in the school, I become a public man. I had to be good to all that comes to the bar. I had to go to all that smiles to me. Earlier in my life, I know too many people that I cannot afford that if somebody greets me, I should not say, I cannot remember where I know you. So I have to be nice at all times to people because I met too many people earlier in my life. And my brain has a limitation of keeping some things. So all my friends are very good to me. Those who are good to me, I'm closer to them. Those who are not either, I do not make enemies of them. I know the limits to which we can mix. Well, that's one thing I am not a fan of. I eat more in the house, even as a student. So normally, every Sunday when I was a student in this university, I go to the market. I buy food items. Earlier on my own, I would either cook it, or my wife, who was my girlfriend there, also come home. We cook the things and keep them in the freezer, cut it to small bits and keep it in the freezer. So when I need my breakfast in the morning, I just take it up and warm it. And then use it to eat the yam or bread or anything I want to eat. And when I come in the night, I eat with her in her room. She doesn't eat outside. She also cooks in her room. So as a student in Angola, when she was in Mozambique, at about a few minutes to 9, I'll be there for my dinner every night from part 2. So, and I take my breakfast in the house. So the lunch just come around. I'll pick the lunch as it comes anywhere I find it. So I don't really have, I don't have that luxury then. I was more or less thinking about to be a man. Yeah, just like the motto says, for learning and culture. I'm a very cultural man. I love being a Yoruba man. If people ask me what's my religion, I said it's Yoruba. Until I changed it of recent to say it's Utito. Right? Utito. So my religion is Utito. Beyond Christianity, beyond Islam, beyond what people call, everybody has tradition. So I gained a lot in going through University of Ife, right, where I met great men like Wale Soyinka and the great men in the Faculty of Arts and so on, and also the Vice Chancellor then, one day, Bimbola too. These are great men who let you know the values of being an African man. And I love nothing in my life, what I cherish most, what I enjoy. You know one thing about University of Ife to my family? You want to know why? My wife and I schooled in University of Ife. My first son graduated from elect. My second son from mechanical engineering. My third son elect, and my daughter is there in medicine here. So it's a family of Obafemi Awolowo University now. So it's everything to us. And I just see that nature chooses where I should settle. Apart from being an Abeokuta man, I spent a greater part of my life in Ife. And when you say Ife, my Ife is between Obande Grammar School, Lexicon here, and OAU. So everything about my life is always been on that campus for a greater part of my life. I live there. I live with the culture of the university, and I love mixing with people who have deep thinking, and so I flow well with that university. So it's the cultural aspect, the learning and culture, that interests me most about it, and I endeavor to send all my children through it. No matter what they want to be in life, I insisted they must pass through that university. And when they finished there for their first degree, they went out for their PhD and so on. Well, for a long time, I was born into a house of Islam. My father was a Muslim, my mother was a Muslim, and I went to Catholic school. If you don't go to Catholic school, you won't get the best education in Abeokuta at that time. So only Catholic school offer the best education. And for you to be in Catholic school, you must be baptized a Catholic and become confirmed a Catholic. Oh yeah. So along the line, I had an opportunity to go the ways of the Catholic, and was so, everything I do in my life, I put everything into it. I practice it the way they do it. So I did everything that a Catholic will do. And the same way I did everything that a Muslim would do, and I become an Adini of Islam. The same way I was also born into royal house. As somebody from royalty, I was opportune to see the values of my people. And I saw, and I spent my time paying attention to what my parents do at home. You know, the pastor's son will be the first to know what the pastor does. The imam's son knows what the imam's son does. Imam does in the house besides what he does in the outside. And then, so I spend my time more after moving with each of the groups, and I realized everything they depended on was what they condemn openly. The African man, the truth about nature, the goodness of nature. And I spend my time now almost confused at a point in life. Later, I sorted myself out. And that was where I enjoyed meeting the philosophers of the university. But I told you I met people, right? And at that time, I studied logics. Then I sat down. I saw the beauty of different schools of thoughts. I started reading a lot of things, and I started spending my time with my father and spending my time with our traditional people. And then the stories have been told about what we are. I saw there's a complete departure. between it and the truth of what our fathers were. So I saw the line that somebody was going to break us. All they are aiming us is to break you away from the goodness of our nature. So for a long time I was saying, I would say I'm a traditional man. I would say this, I would this. Then I realized also in the books that I read, I realized tradition means something of old, the old practice. So every religion, every ways of life has tradition. That's where they're coming from. So I can't say I'm a traditionalist. Then I saw a value from this African studies I did. Is a philosophy of African philosophy also, which we did in part 1 in the university. The freedom of our religion, what religion should really be, that is a way of life, and you are practicing a way of life, you should not be fanatical about it. It's like studying any discipline in university. As an economics, I went to philosophy. You don't say philosophy is out of the way. I was in mathematics. We studied something there. I was in demography. I was in sociology. So this is the way religion is to me. And I now realize the values of true religion was in African religion. And what do they call African religion? African religion is Otito. Everything they do is reminding you of nature, what does not change. When they pray with the words that reminds you of that thing that is certain about nature. When the ojumo kimo kato magbore, abiki otito ni, that which does not change is otito. So when Wole Alade came with his own music too, and talk about otito, we both started sitting down together, and I said, this is our religion. The religion of the black man is otito. It's not tradition that you call us, or this, or Yoruba religion. No, it is otito. Everything we do is affirmation. Tọ́ba jí lówùúrọ̀, tọ́ba kí olú ọjọ́, wọ́n ní tàṣẹ lọ́jọ́ ń yọ, tàṣẹ lóòrùn ràn, ọjọ́ kì í yọ lówùúrọ̀. Ṣé kìí ṣe ètò ni? Is affirmation of truth. Everything about African, everything about Yoruba is affirmation of the observations of our fathers. And there is nothing that is adultery or wrong in it. Nothing. Whence Ajaikra and so on misunderstand us. And they cause this dichotomy, they cause a crisis that we cannot move forward because we are all confused in religion. And unless you clear that, you cannot really move. So I want to know what exactly is our religion. And I realized everything about our religion is truth. Affirmation of truth is what our religion is. So our religion is Otito. Gbogbo tó bá lọ sínú gbogbo Ifá ni, is just reminding you of that thing that is real. It's a story. Historically, it sings to you what will happen if this happen. Since this has always happened, this will likely happen. Oh, because this happened, this is likely to be the result. Probabilities. And they were from a database. So the database is truth. So our religion that our father left to us is a database upon which we have to go back into and pick those truths and use them to form our opinion about what the future can be. So I've seen the truth about our religion. The Yoruba man is a worshipper of Otito. I don't want to call the word truth. Maybe truth can mean something else when you go to dictionary. But Otito ni awansi. When somebody will say, oh, Ombo Shango, Ombo Tong, they don't really understand what we do. They equate it to adulteries of the Israelites. No. The Africans never equate Shango to God. There's nothing equatable to God. Our own God, we so much cherish him. That truth is our God is Otito. And nothing, no particular man or woman that live with high knowledge of Otito is equal to God. No. So there is no adultery in African religion. There is just that there is no plagiarism in academics. So when you want to use anybody's knowledge in Yoruba, you must acknowledge who owns that knowledge. And so what do? A Yoruba man wakes up with Shere. What is it? Shere is to praise those who own the knowledge. And he mentions his fathers. He mentions the gradations of those who pass knowledge down. Appreciating the work of greatness in them. What is wrong with that? Without you going back to that, you cannot move forward. You must be able to appreciate your father, your mother, their fathers, what they have done to survive the bacteria, they have done to survive the viruses, they have done to survive the environment, and were able to live here for that millions of years that no other race has lived. What we do is acknowledging. So I am not, no other religion in the world has the quality, and so they are afraid of the greatness of Otito. And there is nothing anybody can do about it, because Otito will always be Otito. So if you call it black, what is white? One day that man who you have been telling that white thing is black will go near and say, but that do you to do Fufuni. This is where we lie. So Otito is my religion. It's not Christianity, it's not Islam. And that is a tradition. And yes, it's beyond, it's not so good, they are masters. The canonized Christians are always honored in Catholics. So our own canonized men should not be equated to evil. They are canonized men. They are men of high knowledge. Men who have been able to study the environment and have been able to employ things about truth to get what they wanted. So we are a race of truth. Nobody can come from anywhere and tell us we are the wrong ones. It's so obvious. The so-called religious groups at one time or the other were murderers. They could not convince people with their school of thought. They slaughter human beings and take my book or die. And just they're doing it again. Coming with animals to destroy people, make them uncomfortable, and say they are pronouncing religion. Why the truth about nature can never change. Religion itself eats truth. They can never cover. We are still going to go from here to sweep around the world and change everything, no matter how long it takes. Otito can never be buried. We are the truth. We walk with the truth. We live the truth. The Yoruba man is the highest living man and the highest spiritual man that lives. Not after the Greeks, beyond the Greeks. Because we have suffered so much hatred in the hands of every other group that lives, and we still could see the truth about them. So Otito is in the nature of everything we do. If you go back to your father's names, go back to what it says, it has to do with his time, ministry, or whatever happened in your house, in the environment. And that's what we use it to remember. In one way or the other, we've been passing knowledge beyond the knowledge group or the method that is understandable by others. And that truth will never change. So, Otito is the religion of Yoruba man. When you shout great Ife, it motivates me. Every time I hear that word, we rise up. You don't find others try to call great one thing or greater than or greater than, you know it's not real. So I see the greatest thing we used to talk about, how great we are, and you call it in that flow. It is unique. It's not common with others. They really need to understand what's life about. Why do you go to school? Why were you trained a skill? It's just to find a place in the system. The world is a system. The environment is a system. And so when you attain any skill that you have got in life, if that skill is not applicable immediately, you can retrain yourself by looking at opportunities available. What does the system need to run well? The system is, by system I mean the life around us. What does it need? What is missing around you? Where can you plug yourself in to improve on the system? That's what they call work. Work is not when you start applying and reading. No. Look at the immediate environment and employ the resources to produce needed goods and services at a profitable rate. So my advice to them is they should not be looking all the time towards one big man putting money down, their father and mother. Please, once a father can train him to school start level, which is even what even Britain will do to their children. Governments will only train you to that level there. All the others, you borrow money to go to school, and so on. So if your father can send you beyond secondary school, he has finished the work, like my father did to us. And after it, we build on what's around us, and it makes us a stronger man, and it makes us enjoy what we do. If I've been in government work today, people have been thinking of me retiring since I'm 65. Okay? They've been thinking about retirement. But retirement, what do I retire from? I can't retire from my everyday life. My job has become my everyday life. I live with it. I live on it. And so, create for yourself something. Look at your immediate environment. If it is cleaning of the streets that's missing, and you can see how you can turn it into a profitable venture by offering their services, and you can know how you can harness other resources around you to produce that needed goods and services, you will not only create job for yourself, you create for others, and you'll have found a good role in the society to play. Make yourself a good example. Think of the fact that between slave and master, which is what the world has lived for a long time, and sonship, the principle of sonship is the only principle that which the world can move forward and can ever move towards a dream of harmony. Harmony, which you call heaven, it's an ideal state. And that ideal state could only come if you treat every child you meet as your son. That is, you expect everyone that looks forward to you to be greater than you. You provide opportunities for all the youth, anybody around you that is willing to allow you to contribute to his life freely. He's not going to take a thing from you. He will gain, but you're not going to lose anything by it. And you are really moving towards that point that we are looking for, harmony. Harmony can only come where there's progress for all that are coming behind us. You are doing the opposite when you harm others. It's a blind man that does what our politicians are doing. A man who took away the money for the repairs of the road, and buy car, is he going to drive it in the air? The money, in fact, this society needs to be educated on what is money. I am grateful to OAU. I like to call University of Fair. So that's why I stop halfway most of the time. I'm always grateful to that university because it let me know what is money. That's all. It's just a store of value. And so it cannot be the value itself. And so let us educate ourselves and know that this rubbish that we're doing around, denying others, denying the society, you have denied yourself of harmony. You have denied yourself of progress. There is no spending time in the church, in the mosque, in everything, and you deny your neighbor that opportunity to be greater than you. You are wasting time. You cannot see that heaven. That heaven is here. And the progress, so we should all look at sonship. And that determines a lot. And sonship to me is that everybody who needs your help, who can gain from you, you expect him to be greater than you. And once those behind us can be greater than us, then we will live a better life, an harmonious life. So that is the way you can make progress. There's no progress without such opportunity for others to move higher than you. So, and that progress, the meaning of progress to me is that ideal state called heaven, where everything works automatically, where everybody can trust the next person, and where everything can be good for. But that can only come where I want you as my friend to be greater than me, my workers who behave well, who wants to be a son to be greater than me. But those who are slaves, we indicate that they're slaves. He who wants to pull you down is a slave, and it should not be anywhere near the master. It should be fought with everything possible. So they are the ones that doesn't want progress, and they will gain the opposite. Those who want progress, you must be ready to assist anybody. It does not take anything from you. It's the only reason why you have an opportunity to be who you are. The opportunity provided by nature to lift you to where you are. And you don't waste it by keeping it to yourself or your family alone. Everywhere anybody needs an assistance from you, please move it.